I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everybody to the Laverne Planning Commission, July 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. meeting. We do have a quorum. Our first item of business is to approve the meeting minutes from the June 29th, 2021 regular meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted by Mr. Coates. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rutledge. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our first item of business, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman rezoning of property requested by Womble and Associates, 24 proposed lots on 8 acres, including 4 acres for City of Laverne Fire Department Training Facility, property located on Bill Stewart Boulevard, tax map 14F, Group A, parcel 1.01, and tax map 14, parcels 36, 36.01, and 36.02, current zoning district R1 low density residential zoning district, proposed zoning district PDR R2 planned density residential zoning district, property owned by Ebnon Shreeman. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. So, this is the proposal on Bill Stewart Boulevard near the fire hall. And, they are requesting rezoning from rezoning from R1 to R2 PDR. So the, plan here is on the screen. Let me go ahead and pull up from the workshop. So this is the plan that was submitted for the workshop 2 weeks ago. And one of the major differences is you all discussed hook and ladder drive with the applicant. So you'll notice on the resubmittal, so I'm gonna switch back, here's the new one. So hook and ladder drive is now removed, and that leaves McCormick Place to the south as the main ingress egress. So that was a major change since 2 weeks ago. Also, some of the planning commissioners had concerns about connecting these streets in the rear, and some of these that were dead end or stub out streets. So those have been changed where they're all fully connected, as you can see on the new plan that's been submitted tonight. Other changes, they've taken the alleys and widened those. That was a comment from a couple weeks ago. By the way, in the place of hook and ladder drive, you'll see there's a new lot arrangement. So they had extra space there to configure another lot. So what used to be McCormick, this is now a straight run of lots that goes from south to north up Bill Stewart. And those are some of the major changes. There were a few other comments from the workshop, and those were all addressed. You remember, this is 24 proposed lots on 4 acres, and there's the remaining 4 acres which would be given to the city to be used for whatever purpose the city would choose. So you see the existing fire hall there on the plan is right next to McCormick Place. Here's some imagery. It shows the property today. It is heavily wooded. In this image, you can see the fire hall here with the front drive and then the parking areas in the back. And also you can see to the north construction of more homes that would be close to this development. So here's the zoning map, and there is a section of agricultural zone land to the rear of this property, and then to the north is R2, and then to the west is an R4 area, and that's a large mobile home development, and to the south is more R1. So here's some photos. This is the frontage from Bill Stewart, and you can see some of the equipment for the fire hall that's parked here in the back, some of the trailers. And again, you can see heavily wooded. And then this view is taken to the north, looking up Bill Stewart, and some of that area is cleared, but again, mostly trees right now. One other change that was made that I didn't mention yet is a turn lane was added since 2 weeks ago. I know that was a conversation that was important. So they have added the turn lane to the project. You can see it there, right here into McCormick Place. And I think that covers the major changes, and I don't believe Mr. Leach had anything at this stage since we're at the rezoning. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So there was no technical items, no comments, because we don't have a sheet?
No, sir, there's not.
Very good. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
A couple of questions, Mr. Chairman, if we can ask
Applicant?
the applicant to come up.
Would the applicant mind coming to the podium? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name's Jimmy Yates. I'm with Womble and Associates, 40 Middleton Street, Nashville, Tennessee.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, Mr. Coates.
On lot 101 through 111, will those access be onto McCormick Place or onto Bill Stewart?
101 through 111, they'll all be accessed through the alley in the rear.
Okay.
All the lots will have rear alley access.
Very good.
And the detention area, I mean, have we done the calculation to ensure that that's sufficient, big enough for that area to?
We've done some preliminary calculations. We haven't done the final calculations yet, but it will be big enough.
Mr. Leach, have you had a chance to look at this, or you just know it's rezoning, I just want to ask the question?
At this stage of the process, we usually don't dig too deep in it. I would suspect, based on the small general size of the site, that what they have shown would probably be adequate.
Okay, thank you. And then my other question is, on McCormick Place, when you go to the far alley, is that sufficient enough to get a fire truck or emergency vehicle around that corner? Have we checked that?
Yes, there was a fire truck turning plan, sheet C2 in the set, that we ran the 100-foot aerial truck that the city has through there, and it makes all the turns.
That's what I did, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment, only that,
Please,
you
Mr.
know,
Ridley.
this says 24 proposed lots, and I'm counting 29 proposed lots.
Yeah, that
I don't
is,
know if that makes a difference.
it's
for
28
us.
lots. It should be 28 lots, and
Well,
the big lot.
the
is-
lot
yeah,
would be 29.
right.
The big lot would be 29,
The big lot would be
right?
29, yeah.
So I don't know if that makes a difference on this, for what we're voting on.
On our description,
Correct.
is-
Because it says 24 proposed lots on 8 acres, and I count 29.
and I'm seeing 29 as well. I'll get that over to Mr. Cope, if you don't mind, sir.
I mean, my preference would be that it accurately reflect, like what Mr. Rutledge said, the amount of lots, but technically speaking, as long as the map and parcel number correctly identifies the piece of property that's going to be rezoned, we would technically be okay, although my preference would be that it match actually what it's going to be.
Okay.
But let me also say this, there's nothing with respect to the rezoning that requires, well, because it's a PDR, that's, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm sitting here thinking through it. I think because it's a PDR, we need to make sure that the lot number matches the amount of lots that are on there.
And that's why I brought that up, is
Yeah,
because it's a PDR, and
it's a great
I
point.
want to
Very
be
good
what it
catch,
says
sir.
it is.
Very good catch, sir. So should the city request a deferral?
You know, I think that's appropriate. I mean, I do.
And on our behalf. Do we have any other questions or comments on this before I make a motion for deferral? All right, I'm going to make a motion for deferral due to the fact that the description does not match the actual number of lots represented.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes, and we will correct that next month. Next item. Item number 2. Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman rezoning of property requested by Romero and Samuel Rodriguez, approximately 2.5 acres, property located on 1517 Newview Street, 1519 New View Street, and Humble Drive. Tax map 14O, Group A, parcels 6, 7, and 5.01. Current zoning district R3, High Density Residential zoning district. Proposed zoning district I2, Heavy Industrial zoning district. Property owned by Romero and Samuel Rodriguez. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is the rezoning request that we've seen for many months on New View and Humble Drives. And it does consist of 3 lots, and those are shown on the screen. This is New View that runs basically east and west. So these 2 lots that come off of New View are part of the rezoning, and then this 3rd lot comes off of Humble. And as you remember, the corner lot is not part of this rezoning. And you can see some of the gravel drives and parking areas that have been installed there over the last couple years. This is the current zoning map. So you can see it's here in this darker green. So it's currently R3. They had requested I2 for a concrete operation. Here's some of the photos of New View Street. So you can see these 2 homes are in the front part of the parcels, and they would remain if the rezoning were approved. And the rear of those 2 lots would become I2 if the rezoning were approved. So this is a closer view of the other house with the concrete driveway, or excuse me, gravel driveway, and the carport there. So in the rear of this photo, let me go back here, you can see some of the, I guess, structures that facilitate that concrete use. And even in this one, you can see too, some of the trucks and equipment that's parked out there in the rear of these lots. So this view is from Humble Drive, across the fence there. Again, you can see the large gravel area where they have the trucks parked and that go in and out. And the day these were taken, there's some materials that are parked there or stored there. And then this is one more view looking far in the distance with the whole graveled area. So the applicants, they've been here several times, they've deferred several times, and they're, I think the Planning Commission deferred them once or twice. So, and then they deferred on their own several times. So they're out of deferrals, and I think after the workshop, it didn't appear that they got the feedback that they desired. So I have not heard from them. So I do not have a withdrawal letter or email. So they are not officially withdrawn. So that's where they stand tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, with no deferrals or requests for withdrawal, we are somewhat forced to vote on this. So with that, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion for an unfavorable recommendation.
We have a motion for an unfavorable recommendation. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We will be sending an unfavorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman in regards to this item. Next item. Item number 3, final plat, Pinnacle Point, Section 5, 23 lots on 11.79 acres, requested by Huddleston Steel, property located on Sparrow Gap Drive, tax map 32, parcel 24, R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Deluxe Homes LLC. Mr. Logan.
Pinnacle Point, Section 5 is one of the deferrals.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And item number 4 has been removed, correct?
Yes, sir. They have withdrawn officially, so they will be off the agenda, and they're not pursuing it any further. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. With that, we move on to item number 5. Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman, rezoning of property requested by Womble and Associates, approximately 0.89 acres, property located at 5001 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 15, parcel 13.01, current zoning district C2 Highway Service Zoning District, proposed zoning district C3 Neighborhood Service Zoning District, property owned by Abnon Streetman. Mr. Logan.
This is a request for rezoning on, it's actually on west near Schreibman Boulevard. Currently, it is part of the lot that houses KFC, so it's listed as 5001 Murfreesboro Road, which is in the paperwork and also on the screen. I remember from the workshop, this is the KFC at the corner of west near Schreibman and Murfreesboro Road. So the subject property is in the rear of this lot between there and Laverne 2000 townhomes. There is a large electrical easement that runs across it, and we'll see that more in a minute. Just kind of zooming out, you can see all of this part of Laverne with the co-op and all of their property too. So it is zoned C2, and that's highway service commercial. They are requesting C3, mainly because C3 does allow limited residential. It's usually upper story residential is what you typically see in C3. So C2 does not allow any residential whatsoever. So that's one of the main reasons for the request to rezone. And here's a photo. So this is looking toward Murfreesboro Road and the KFC, which is in the upper right corner of this photo. And then you can see the sidewalk to your left, and it ends there. But on these plans in your packet, they do show the extension of that sidewalk on down to KFC. There's that one more view there. You can see Walgreens further down across Murfreesboro Road. And then this photo shows all of the electrical lines. There's the high transmission or high voltage transmission lines from TVA, which is the tall towers. There's another line that's also in this electrical easement that runs alongside it. So they parallel each other, and that's looking toward Nashville. This is toward Davidson County. So one more there that shows all the electrical towers. So this is the updated plan, and the 3 units, they're proposing 3 units total. All 3 would be 2-story with the upper story residential. So if you look at this plan versus last month, so this is the new plan tonight. They've taken these homes and moved them further to the south and west toward KFC, and they've added this driveway, which was part of the discussion 2 weeks ago. So they have moved the ingress, egress, and they've moved the parking places, and they've added garages to these units, which we'll get to. But if you watch, I tried to line these up as close as I could. So this is last month, and this is tonight. So you can see how they've moved from about center or a little northeast of center to the south and west. And this parking area, the garages have been added, those are the cars shown here in the garages. So it looks like 2-car garages added to each of those. They do have an area of parking on this new plan that has, I think I counted 5 spaces in this area. So with the 6 garage spaces and those 5, that's 11, which I think is a pickup of 1 from last month, if you count the garages. So they had 10 last month, they have 11 tonight, and of course the ingress egress has been moved up here by the electrical easement. They've also, you might notice, they were deeper, the units were deeper 2 weeks ago. They've made them less deep and wider to accommodate the garages and allow driveways for the residents to move into the rear and then get their vehicles in to the garages through the rear. So that's why they are not as deep as they were. Let's go back to this image. So you can see the sidewalk that is now picking up, and with the existing sidewalk that extends from Laverne 2000, and then they would connect to that sidewalk and go all the way down to KFC. So So that's shown as well. And again, this is rezoning, so it's not as heavy on the technical side for engineering and such, so I don't believe Mr. Leach had any comments. So that completes the report. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a question for Ms. Logan. On the front setback, is that going to be in the same parallel as the houses to the right on that location then, or is it further towards the road?
It appears from here to be closer to the road.
Because what I can recall, I think it was 25 on the other homes?
I believe, if Laverne 2000, I believe it's 15 feet
15, okay.
to the front.
So they'd have to come back to the BZA for that approval as well then?
C3 allows.
That would probably be, yeah, it probably would be required to go to BOZA.
C3 allow 50 is conceptual or? C3
Yeah, although we're dealing with rezoning, I'm just trying to plan ahead here, so obviously there's other questions, but that's something that's arisen there just by looking at it, of how that gets handled.
Might argue rear with the garage.
Anyway, a couple more questions for the applicant, if I could, Mr. Chairman?
Please, sir. Would the applicant be so kind as to come to the podium? State your name and address for the record, please, sir.
I'm Non Schreibman, 5047 Murfreesboro Road. I'm the applicant.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, Mr. Coates.
Mr. Chairman, so I see we've moved the entranceway towards the other entranceway, which I think is a better idea, keeping away from Kentucky Fried Chicken. How would the impact of moving it back 5 feet impact this design?
I will not make a big issue now of the 5 feet here or nay, because this is not an application for a site plan, and all what we are giving you now is a sketch.
Sure.
This is a zoning application, and if you don't have the zoning, then the whole work is obsolete. So in the workshop, we gave one idea of a site plan. Now we are giving you a different idea of a site plan, but really it's not an application for a site plan approval. It's just a zoning application. And like Mr. Logan said, in a C2, which is a commercial highway, you cannot do live work. It's not permitted. In C3, which is an inferior or lower dense commercial, you can do live work according to the current book of the city of Laverne. So this is why we are going down on the zoning from C2 to C3 in order to accommodate the live work. Just to fill you in, live work starts to be a very, very hot item nationwide. And it's not only in Laverne, obviously. When we applied 3 years ago to do live work in Sand Hill Road, and it's going to be built in the next few months, it's going to be the first project in Laverne of live work. At that time, the whole environment was different. At that time, what we had in our mind when we do live work is that it's going to be like a neighborhood services type situation for the hair salon, for the nail place, maybe for a little coffee shop. Then we had the corona, and in this moment, many, many people are moving into live work. They work from the house. It can be a real estate agent, it can be an accountant, an engineer, a computer guy. Many people are working now from the house. So this became a national trend now to do lots of live works, and you are going to see it again and again in Laverne and also in the neighboring city. You can see live work in Smyrna already, in, I forgot the name of it. I'll remember in a moment. Anyway, Danny Womble did several times in his career live work. He showed me all the places. There are some successful places of live work on the Nolensville Road. So it's going to happen again and again. I just want to put in front of you 2 samples, one from Las Vegas, one from Los Angeles. I happen to be in the Memorial Day weekend in the West Coast, and just by coincidence, I was not looking for it. I just came across by coincidence with 2 projects of live work. It's starting to be very, very popular. And I believe that very soon in Laverne, you may have a new paragraph in the book that will have a zoning for live work. So you won't need to go like this through a commercial zoning, but you will be able to go straight into live work. And it's going to be a zoning like a single family or apartment or a townhome or any zoning like this. In this moment, the only way to do live work is to go with a PRD. And in order to have a PRD, you need to have a base that is not C2 because it's not permitted in C2. So let me just give you these examples.
Please be sure and Mr. Logan receives a copy. Go with the record.
Thank you.
And let me just summarize the long lecture that I'm giving you. This is not a site plan application, so I don't want to deal with the details of a 5-foot or 15-foot. It's not significant now. In this moment, it's a yea or a nay about a zoning change, and this is the application.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
One question.
Mr. Holliday?
Only because it is depicted here on this drawing. There appears to be a concrete sidewalk from the rear corner to the back of the KFC dumpster. Is there a reason for that sidewalk?
You asked the question about sidewalk in the workshop, and I checked with the owners of KFC that I know very good. This is JRN. It's a family-owned company from Columbia, Tennessee. I sold them the site of the KFC 15 years ago, and most likely they will let me continue the sidewalk all the way to Murfreesboro Road on city's right-of-way. It will require some vegetation to be removed, some nice shrubs that they grown there, but it's going to add, so we will have a continuation all the way from Murfreesboro Road all the way to the end of Laverne 2000. It's going to be one uniform sidewalk.
Mr. Treatman, that is wonderful news. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Mr. Logan, do you know the little piece that I'm talking about? Can you show the layout and point to that little piece of sidewalk?
Okay, is,
By the dumpster. No, by the dumpster.
It'd be more of your
Yeah.
trail.
There's a little piece of sidewalk that goes off the back of the new pavement to the back of the dumpster. I don't have a problem with it necessarily. I'm just wondering, why is it there?
Honestly, I don't have a clue. It's not mine, I don't know.
That man may know.
Please, sir.
There's a sidewalk there already where people were coming to the dumpster. So we just made it, if they wanted to share a dumpster, KFC has plenty of room in that dumpster pad for another dumpster if there needs to be one. We just added a sidewalk over there. They could do trash pickup with cans, or they could share the dumpster.
That doesn't fill me with excitement, but other than that, I love the live work.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have a couple questions, and
Please, sir.
it's really not pertaining to your actual motion, but since you put this out here. First comment is the front of that building facing near Shreedman, is it where the garage is gonna be? Are those gonna be just cosmetic walls where you can't see what's in behind there, like the garage itself? Will the garage be enclosed, I guess is what I'm asking?
Yeah, the garage is going to be closed, the entrance is going to be from the back.
Okay. And then your entranceway, I absolutely love that you moved it down here. I think that's a great plan. I would just love to see you open that up to about 40 foot to what we've been doing throughout the rest of the city, what we've asked for everybody else. So that, just keep that for reference. And I think you've got a great plan here.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? With that, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to Mayor Alderman as for the rezoning.
We have a motion for a favorable recommendation to Mayor and Alderman. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item number 6. That's right. Preliminary plat, Crothers Crossing Phase 3, 121 lots on 45.2 acres, requested by SEC. Property located on Crothers Road, tax map 29, parcel 29, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Burkett Hills Investment Group, LLC. Mr. Logan.
this is a request for preliminary plat approval at Crothers Crossing Phase 3. And you can see there on the screen the area that's the subject area for this item. And you may remember this total site is 92 acres, and if you start up here at Crothers Road, which is, this is Crothers Road where I'm pointing. So if you start there and come all the way down this parcel, it's 92 acres. So we're at the far south end of this parcel. So this is phase 3, and it's total of 121 lots. And just zooming in there, you can see these homes that you see to the left are in Davidson County. They're the first subdivision in Davidson County when you're on Crothers Road heading north and west. And you can see here again, so we're talking about this section of the parcel. So this is zoned PDR, planned density residential, and it has been for several years. I think it was first zoned PDR in 2008, but then with the recession that followed, this project stalled, and then it was revived around 2018 and taken through the Planning Commission again in 2018. So the total lots here for Crothers Crossing when it's completed is about 532. And again, this is 121 of those 532. So you can see the general layout here on the screen and some of the details that are also included. They do have sidewalks on both sides of the street, and several of you will remember that. When it came in and leading up to the workshop 2 weeks ago, there were not a lot of staff comments. There were some fire comments, which you see there in the report. And other than that, though, the engineering and planning comments have all been taken care of. So there are none outstanding there. And I don't know if Mr. Leach wants to say anything about the project, but.
You got anything, Mr. Leach?
They've addressed all my comments.
Very good. So all of these comments are fire-related?
I think they may have tread upon my territory in making some of those, and I did request the fire marshal to look at the plans because I believe several of those have been, or were probably corrected when they made them, but I don't clear other people's comments, other people don't clear mine.
Absolutely, sir. Do we know if the fire marshal's in the building, sir? Mr. Logan? Is there an applicant here for this project, if you don't mind, sir? If you would state your name and address for the record.
Richard Howes, SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro.
Very good, sir. Thank you. So we have 7 comments here that are from the fire marshal. Have you seen these?
I have seen a handful from Mr. Logan's email, and I'd emailed him back asking on a couple of them to clarify a couple of things, but I can't say that I've seen all of them.
Okay, so I'm going to hand this list to you, and I'm sort of in an impasse here.
The hydrants we've seen, we've got them every 500 feet. There are no alleys within this section. All the alleys are in previous sections and already previously approved. Road width, 26 feet. All the fire hydrants in the roads are along the main roads. Anyway, they're not within the alleys. Temporary turnarounds, we've added them to these plans that were resubmitted to the 3 dead-end roads. Water valve, that's one of the ones that I needed to clarify. We've got 3 water valves on it, and they're asking for a 4th one. I need to know, is that?
Not for me.
This is all from the fire marshal, so without him, we're at a slight impasse without him being here. So if you found one that has not been addressed,
That's the one that I sent back to ask what.
Just as a note,
please, sir.
this is a preliminary plat. These aren't construction plans, and even if he does show a valve on the preliminary plat, it
Be
doesn't
corrected down the road.
doesn't mean it's gonna get built until I have construction plans, which I do have a set waiting for review. You know, that's really the plat's setting the general layout, that type of thing. So it's worth noting some of these things, but In the
little
grand
cart
scheme.
before the horse, so to say.
A bit.
And we had the blow-offs, we'd taken those off and put fire hydrants at the end already on this revised set, so.
So the only thing that is in question is the
Was the
fourth
valve.
valve that can actually be dealt with at site plan.
So, just wait, I mean, you understand the predicament, obviously we have open issues from the staff.
Correct.
Historically, this board, even on a preliminary plat and final, we just don't like to move forward till we get it ticked off. Is it, obviously this is further up the hill from one of the last up there, so you're not working it yet, maybe move some grading, but I mean, so my question to you is it, could you at least defer for 1 month and keep it on the agenda, address the items with the fire marshal and come back to us next month to take care of
You
it?
okay with that?
He's my client, so.
So let me go the other way. Historically, this board likes to have things addressed by the staff. If you want us to vote on it, we can, but then if it gets turned down, you've already missed a deadline for next month. So then you'd be come back in for September. So I'm just asking the question, I'm just letting you know what this board's done historically.
With it being I'd almost feel comfortable with city requesting deferral, with it being a staff issue.
I mean, that's fine too. I just want to make sure we get it right, because we don't want to open the floodgates up here. We've been very good, this board, of keeping things consistent.
I mean, and like I said, I've addressed all these on what was resubmitted, with the exception of the one valve question.
Understand it was obviously, it was the city's issue. I understand.
But-
I'm just trying to work with this. I'm just trying to figure this out.
I'm open to it, but my client, they're ready to go. All right, deferral.
And we appreciate that, sir. I mean, I understand it's a difficult situation, but we do appreciate it.
And respectfully, I'm gonna request that it be a city deferral,
That's fine.
so that it does not take away from your deferrals if there's any problems down the road. You won't be penalized in that fashion, so request for deferral on this item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, and probably since it would be a city deferral, it'd be good to have a vote on that.
Absolutely. So I'll make a motion for a deferral on this item.
I'll second.
And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Wood. Thank you, sir. With that, we'll move on to our next item. Item number 7 has deferred, correct, Mr. Logan?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Thank you. Item number 8, final plat, Dobson, Waldron, and Pewitt property, Pewitt property, thank you, ma'am. Dodson, Waldron, and Pewitt property, 2 lots on 8.69 acres, requested by Huddleston Steel. Property located on Lake Road, tax map 32, parcel 2.01, R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Polly Dobson Davidson Pewitt. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is a minor plat on Lake Road, and the applicant's requesting to subdivide 1 lot into 2, and see the property here on the screen. So this is Rock Springs Elementary School, and then this is Lake Road running west into Davidson County. All of this to the north is the ridge that you can see under construction. So this is, this property backs up to the ridge subdivision, as many of you know. So they are requesting to subdivide the 1 lot into 2, and the small lot will be toward the front of the property, and then the remaining lot would wrap around the back, and we'll get to that in a moment. On this zoning map, this orange color is all R1, so it's primarily low-density residential, and the exception being this Phase 2 of the Ridge, 2 and 3 are zoned R2, which is medium-density residential. Here's some photos of the property that's out there today, and this is the driveway off a lake with the entrance and the gate. And then here's another view up the driveway. So the existing home, see some windows here, the existing brick home, and then accessory structure off to the right. Looks like it might be a barn. So getting to the plat, they did not resubmit the 10 copies until this evening when they came to the meeting. So, which in this case is not that big of an issue because there were really no staff comments to begin with. But I think the only comments were to remove some titles, some signature blocks. So the front lot, you can see here, and it'll be 0.82 acres, so a little bit over 3/4. And then 757 is in the back, so a lot of land remaining in the back. And this area, by the way, SSDS is subsurface disposal system, so this area has been on septic, and I believe that they're going to be hooking to the sewer. Is that correct?
The new lot will hook to sewer. The existing lot, from my understanding, was to remain on septic.
Okay. And again, this is Lake Road here to the front, and you can see on your plans, they submitted 11 by 17s tonight, which is what you have at each of your places. So you can see the existing home and the existing barns, and then a pond that's in the rear. But again, this is a minor plat, so there's really not, it's pretty simple. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Logan. Do we have any questions or comments from the board?
I had asked in the work session as to whether or not the additional public sewer connections could be sufficient for more than just Lot 1, anticipating that a second or third or fourth lot, could be divided at some point. I don't think that that's happening. Is that right?
That's not what's being proposed by the applicant. And two, we typically can't force the extension of additional utilities based on one subdivision, one lot, that type of thing. Is there enough capacity in we'll probably say it'll be an inch force main coming off this grinder to put another house on? There is, but eventually, if you say 2 or 3, then it becomes 4 or 5, and suddenly we're down a road where they're putting in a 4-inch force main for what probably will only be one house, at least according to the applicant.
And Mr. Holliday, should it go beyond 3 lots? Is that correct, Mr.?
Well, essentially, any time that they're going to go to upgrade, theoretically, or subdivide or whatever, I have to look at whether they're going to have sewer service or not. The house has to have sewer service for them to get a CO, and for me to allow it to be, well, if I was signing the plat, for me to sign off on a sewer note for something like this.
Right.
But basically, they wouldn't get through building codes to, get anything because they wouldn't have sewer to the site.
And if they go beyond 4 homes, it's a major subdivision.
Yep, and they would
They're kind of
extend all
tied and
services.
limited at this point.
With that clarification, then I'll make a,
Just have last one quick question before we make the motion. Is that okay?
sure?
Please, Mr. Holliday. Thank
So
you.
staff, we got on the workshop, we had 3 items that were listed, and then the one we got this evening is 2, but it's still in blue. So have they been addressed by this sheet? Is this correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Mr. Holliday.
Motion for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by Mr. Holliday, second by Mr. Rutledge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item. Item number 9, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman, subdivision acceptance, Cottages of Lake Forest, Phase 7, property located on Holland Ridge Drive, requested by Womble and Associates, R3, high-density residential zoning district. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This is a request for subdivision acceptance at the Cottages of Lake Forest, Phase 7. And this property is located off Holland Ridge Road, and you can see there, it's, this is Sand Hill Road, the 4-way stop at Dick Buchanan, and Sand Hill and Holland Ridge Road goes to the north. So, as this project develops out, this is the next phase, and this phase consists of 100 attached dwellings, and they are requesting subdivision acceptance. So, close-up view here shows the area in more detail. And staff's been notified that everything is in order for subdivision acceptance, and so they've been placed on the agenda. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So all technical items are taken care of? Punch list good?
The punch list is not complete as indicated by the notes. They were provided it, but they have not indicated that they have done everything requested as of yet. They do have a scheduled walkthrough with one of my inspectors on Thursday, but today's Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. Leach. Questions or comments from the board?
I think, again, it puts us in an awkward position, you know, again, I think we need to do things correctly, we've been very consistent, and it is just I would just make a recommendation for a deferral.
We have a motion?
That's motion, so yes.
We have a motion for deferral. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Rutledge. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our final item, bonds and letter of credit. Mr. Leach?
We have one bond that'll be expiring in August. I'll reach out to the developer to renew that. Have two bonds that are kind of pending signatures. We have them in hand, but until they get everything else right, they'll be waiting. But other than that, same as last month.
List's getting shorter.
There are not a lot of houses out there right now.
Agreed, sir. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.